All right, so let's talk about Black Lives Matter. And I think you've done a couple of videos on Black Lives Matter. And my feeling is that the movement has changed, again, from what I would describe as something that was well-intentioned, trying to deal with some seriously big problems related to law enforcement and their treatment of the black community that I think most people realize is somewhat legitimate at some level, right? I'm trying to be somewhat politically correct here, I guess. But it seems to have morphed into something else. So, you know, just the other day I saw a video of a guy in a New York City park who was wearing a Trump hat. That's well within his right to wear a Trump hat. And Black Lives Matter people, a good group of probably 50 or 100 people, were literally forcing him out of the park, getting right in his face, you know, pushing him a little bit, all this stuff. I mean, that is a threat to free speech and democracy. A guy just expressing a political opinion with a hat. And I've seen the movement sort of morph into more of that than I think what it should be about or is supposed to be about.
Absolutely. I think, like you said, the movement has changed. I think the movement has become super toxic. I think, like most social movements, it began with, you know, an idea that is well-intentioned, and maybe we even should talk about it. I think police brutality is an actual topic that needs to be discussed, and I think it's a shame that Black Lives Matter has kind of made it so a lot of people don't want to talk about it. It started with a good intention, and then, like most leaderless movements, it really just took a crap, you know? I mean, what we see is that they don't actually care about Black lives. Have you seen that young, I think it's like a 17-year-old who, I think he did like an interview on InfoWars or something. He's a Trump supporter. And right now there's people like from Black Lives Matter like searching for him.
Oh, I did see it. Unbelievable, that kid, yeah.
It's insane, and all the while hashtagging Black Lives Matter while they're hunting down a black person simply because they want to vote for Trump. It's crazy. But I did make videos about Black Lives Matter. I made one entitled, you know, straight to the point. I entitled it Black Lives Matter is Trash. And I got huge blowback from that. It obviously was shared amongst Black Lives Matter. You know, obviously my viewership enjoyed it, but Black Lives Matter did not. And there was a huge doxing fiasco. They were trying to dox me. I had to go off social media. I saw that you tweeted that you thought I had been banned from Twitter, which is reasonable because a lot of us are being banned lately, but it wasn't the case. I was actually kind of just laying low while Black Lives Matter was trying to ruin my life.
Yeah, so for the people that aren't in it with all the internet lingo, so you were doxed, which basically means somebody, pretty much they found out where you live, right, and made that information public, and they can get all other sorts of information, not just your physical location, but they can get banking records and all kinds of stuff. I mean, this is a huge threat to free speech, because once you have this sort of blackmail on people and then they go after someone who publicly is saying things that are unpopular, it's the chilling effect. I mean, that's my thing with the Milo thing. I want Milo back on Twitter for many reasons, and I miss his voice on there. But to me, it's the chill effect of, okay, we got rid of Milo. How many other people are going to stop saying what you think, regardless of whether I agree with them or not?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, even aside from Twitter banning people who voice any type of conservative view, the doxing is a threat to free speech. I mean, when you use intimidation or threats of violence to silence someone, that is literally stifling free speech. So, I mean, I didn't let it stop me. I just laid low for 2 days or whatever, and then I came back and I doubled down with another video about Black Lives Matter. But now I understand why a lot of people, when they do YouTube videos, they use anonymous pictures and names, because it actually is difficult to, you know, stamp your name on something. I think, you know, it means more when you do stamp your name on something, but there's also a huge risk that goes along with that.
Yeah, you know, I struggle with that big time, because people message me all the time saying, you know, you're so brave, you're putting this stuff out there, free speech, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just doing what I think is right. I don't think I'm actually that special or anything. I got some thoughts firing around up here, and I say them, and that's really it. But I do sometimes get frustrated by the amount of people that are in the free speech movement that are only doing it as anonymous people. And I get it. I get there's a real threat. People feel like if they say something unpolitically correct, they're going to lose their job or all that. But in a weird way, does that show we're actually losing, because so many of us that are trying to fight for what is real equality, what is real honesty, and what is really free speech feel the need already to be anonymous, which makes it seem like it would only get worse, even though there's obviously some awakening going on here?
Yeah, honestly, I talked about this the other day with someone. I do think, in a sense, it does mean that we have a huge battle ahead of us. The fact that most of us don't stamp our name on it, because it has huge social implications. I mean, I told you about, how feminists tried to get me evicted from where I was living. Black Lives Matter tried to dox me. I lost a shitload of friends. I could imagine that what I say online, if I wasn't doing YouTube full time, if I were to go apply for a job at wherever, I would have difficulty doing that. So I think there's something to be said for the fact that you Google feminist YouTubers, everyone will have their full name, picture, all that. If you Google, anti-feminism, anti-Islam, anti-Black Lives Matter, everyone has like a cartoon picture.
Yeah. God, it's so clear to me, and especially when I talk to someone like you, it's just so clear to me that we're on the right side of this because we're having a consistent set of principles that we're standing for, which is actually for the minority and the free thinker and for the actual Muslim person and for the trans person, because we want these people to all be treated equally, not specially, and we have got to crush this thing. It just seems so obvious as I'm talking to you.
No, we have to, and you brought it up. I think we actually are losing. The fact that Milo was banned, the fact that a lot of us are forced into anonymity, a lot of us are forced off the internet when we're doxxed. I think it's more important than ever than just speak. But I understand the implications that go along with that.
Yeah, a couple times you've mentioned that you've lost some friends in this battle, and I've said several times on the show, I lost a bunch of friends when I started talking about this too,
sure.
and I've gained a whole bunch of new, better friends, so that's okay. But I get emails all the time, people saying I'm losing friends, or I can't post this on Facebook, or this one blocked me, or my sister won't talk to me. I mean, really some crazy nonsense. When you lost friends, can you give me an example of what that, one time and how that conversation went? Because I can give you an example of just people that I've known for many, many years that suddenly out of nowhere, Dave, you're a bigot and a racist, and I'm not going to talk to you anymore, and then that's it, and then stop responding to texts and calls. And it's I don't think I've said anything remotely bigoted or racist. I'm trying to have hard conversations, and it's just a sad state of affairs.
No, it is. I think you and I might be similar in the sense that being gay and being trans, a lot of our social circle was liberals, and a lot of our social circle was people who are more inclined to the SJW mindset. And so when it comes to starting to break out of that, it's kind of like leaving a cult. I'm just going to be honest. It's kind of like leaving a cult. I mean, I lost at least 15 friends in one day. First day of YouTube, and all of a sudden I noticed a shift in no one talking to me. Some people actually vocalizing that what I was doing was so wrong, and people talking about me. I think that a lot of people, I've heard a lot of messages as well, people saying they're losing family or they lost their job. I think it sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah. Do you think politics has become the new religion? Because it seems to me that in the old days, or for all time of human history, we were divided by religions. Now, we still have plenty of religious division in the world, without question, but it seems to me more than ever right now, and partially this is because of, I think, our two crappy candidates running and just our whole political machine is broken in America and all that, that now people are being divided on political lines, where it used to be, I know when I was growing up, my family table, we'd have big family events, everyone would be arguing over politics and all believed in all kinds of different things, and we'd be screaming, and then at the end everybody was fine, and we all went ahead and love each other, and that's it. But now it seems like if you know somebody that's a Trump supporter, that somehow you're racist, and you know somebody that's a Hillary supporter, you're somehow a Wall Street sellout, and all that, and it's this is crazy.
Yeah, I think it's all so emotionally charged. I mean, it's almost impossible to have any type of political discourse without people just freaking out on both ends. I'm not even going to say it's just a liberal SJW thing. I think on both ends, people take it super seriously, and I'm probably guilty of doing that sometimes as well. But I do make a conscious effort to not take everything so seriously. I mean, objectively, what I talk about are serious topics, but I think it's nice to present them in a way that's just a little bit lighthearted. That's why a lot of my videos are, comedic in nature, because it's just everything's so heavy lately. I know everyone feels that everything's just so heavy.
Yeah. Well, isn't that the funny thing about what they call shit posting online? It's like all of these people, I'm not saying you're doing it, but when I see all these...
It was just funny to hear you say shit posting online.
Oh, well, I'm trying to, for the people that don't know what shit posting is, that was for the older audience, you know what I mean? I know the kids know what the shit posting is, but basically for people that don't know what shit posting is, it's basically intentionally trying to inflame people to get them to react. And I see this all the time. You know, I see all these Trump Nazis posting all this stuff, and I see the frog and all this crap. And to me, it's like I either ignore it or I think some of it's funny and some of it's scary and annoying, but it's like, all right, you're some guy, you did that. You're not at my house with a pitchfork. But then they get celebrities and journalists and big name people to react, and then it seems like there's something much bigger going on here, when really all it is some kid with Photoshop who took Hitler and put him on Trump, and people go bananas. And it's like, you didn't really do anything.
Leslie Jones. That's what happened with Leslie Jones. It was her. This is why people say do not feed the trolls, because, you know, she responded to someone, then everyone realized, oh, we'll get a reaction then. And so we'll post about her being a gorilla, and we'll post about, you know, anything that will humiliate her. And she was like going to war with these Twitter accounts with like anime pictures and like people who aren't, you know, it's funny. And but that's the reason why Milo was banned also, which really sucks. That the fact that people really perceive it to be that there's just this many like hateful, evil people, when really it's just people fucking with you, because it's the internet and you can't have high expectations for the internet. That's why a lot of people ask me like, how do you deal with like the hate comments? It's like, it's the internet. It's not like, I probably would be depressed if I was walking down the mall and someone just screamed shit at me, but it's the internet. It's not a big deal.
That's what I always say, and I've really come around on this. It's like, if some random nutbag with an anime picture or a Twitter egg starts screaming at me, it's like, listen, if I was walking down the street and some crazy person started screaming at me, I would ignore them. I wouldn't engage them and have a battle of ideas with a crazy person. And yet people think if a cat does it to you, you better respond or you're going to lose. You know, the interesting thing about Leslie Jones, by the way, is I didn't know this till yesterday. I have never interacted with her. I've never tagged her in a tweet. I don't think I've even ever said her name publicly, even when I did my video about Milo. I'm not even sure that I brought her up specifically. Never interacted with her. I just saw yesterday that she has me blocked on Twitter, which kind of tells you everything you need to know about this level of discourse. I was going to invite her on the show. That's why I went to check. I was about to just say, come on in. Let's have an honest, open conversation the way I would do with anyone else. And she's got me blocked.
Yeah, a lot of times they use block bots, which is basically like they'll automatically block anyone who was a follower of, say, Milo Yiannopoulos. So a lot of times that's what happens as well. Like you'll come across an SJW and you've never interacted with them, but they have you blocked. So that's what that is. But that's the whole, you know, echo chamber thing. It's the whole I don't want to hear anyone else's opinions. I just want to spout my shit and no one can respond, which people think that that's like a violation of free speech. I don't think that is. I think that's a little dramatic to say you're silencing free speech, because it's the internet. Everyone has their own platform. Like, it doesn't matter how big or small it is. Everyone can say what they want.
I mean, I'm all for that. Say whatever the hell you want, as long as you're not calling for direct violence or doxing someone. You know, without a direct threat. Beyond that, say whatever you want and be the bigger person. And if somebody's saying something you don't like, they got the mute button or they got the block button, or just ignore them, and life will go on, won't it?
Yep, absolutely. It's the internet.
It is the internet. Well, you know what? You do so much of what you do on the internet, and I love what you do, and I think you're doing such great stuff. Did we miss anything here? I think we hit all the big points.
I don't think so. I think we talk about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. When are you making it down to LA so we can do this in person next time?
Anytime. I do YouTube full time, so my schedule is pretty clear besides making videos. So
that's pretty sweet. Did you think it was going to happen so quickly that you could actually be a full-time YouTuber, as they say?
No. I mean, listen, the money's not. I'm not sitting here like living. I'm not sitting here living the pampered life. It's a YouTube channel, people. But at the same time, you know, I'm able to support myself and just focus on making videos now, which is great. So.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. Well, listen, for whatever it's worth, even though I don't even like the phrase ally, you know you have an ally in me, and I have a feeling we'll continue to do some stuff together. And you guys can find out more about Blair. Check out her totally not politically correct YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/BlairWhiteX. And thanks a lot, Blair.
Thank you. Bye, Dave.